Saving water is good for the environment, and if you have a meter, it can also save you money too. Now, sometimes water's being wasted in our homes and we don't even know it. I'm Craig Phillips, and today I'm joined by a registered plumber, Drew Stiles. He's here today to talk about leaky loos. Now, you'd expect you'd notice a leaky loo because there'd be water all over the floor, Drew, but apparently that's not always the case, is it?
No, it's actually way more subtle than that, and a common problem that wastes a lot of water. In fact, a lot of people wouldn't even notice that sometimes there aren't even any signs. You might be thinking, why bother getting it fixed if it's not causing me any bother? Well, firstly, if you're on a water meter, you're wasting money because all that water is literally going down the drain. United Utilities estimate that a leaky loo could waste up to £400 in water a year if left alone.
But not only that, leaky loos are also bad news for the environment. Leaky loos can lose from 215 up to 400 litres of clean water per day, which is equal to having 5 or more people living at your house, which is a total waste of clean water. As Drew said, sometimes leaks can be silent, but there's a few telltale signs to look out for. One of the obvious ones is when you haven't flushed a loo and there's a constant trickling noise coming from the system as it continuously fills. Or you might even notice water rippling on the surface, which indicates something is wrong. And of course, you might also notice higher water bills if you're on a water meter.
If you're unsure, an easy way to test is with the leaky loo strips, which you can get online from United Utilities. I'll show you how to put one on now. It's quite a simple thing to do. Just go to your toilet pan, give it a good dry to make sure it sticks properly. Peel the back off the sticker and just place it where the water comes out of your toilet pan when you flush. And then what you'll find, if there is any problems with it overflowing, it'll trickle down there and eat it away.
What sort of indication will you get over time?
Well, you'd see the water trickling down, so you'd have something like this, where you can see it's just lit the logo up there, and you might find it dissolves it and eats it into the bottom of the pan if it is a more severe leak happening overnight.
Sure. And I take it that's all biodegradable, is it?
Yeah, it just flushes away, yeah. So you can get these stickers from United Utilities, which go in the back, or you can use a bit of toilet paper. Just place it at the back of the pan. So the next morning, or if you leave it for a few hours, if you see any of the water running down the toilet roll, you know you've got an issue.
Sure, and that's the time to call a professional, of course. Yeah. I trust you're going to wash your hands now after working in the toilet, yeah? 100%. So you might be wondering what causes a leaky loo, and quite often it's faulty parts in the flushing system. The mechanical flush system have many moving parts that can quite often break down. Ironically, the modern dual flush system that was designed to save water can be more temperamental and can break down more often than a standard flush system. So Drew, there's many different systems that people can have in the house. You brought a small selection of them here. Can you tell me a little bit about each one and what can possibly go wrong with them?
Yeah, so one you'll find on most modern toilets now is the internal flush valve, these. Now, when these are inside a toilet, if it's overflowing, it'll siphon back through itself, and that's when you see the trickling down the back of the pan, the ripples in the water.
And that's when it needs replacing.
That's when it needs replacing.
Sure.
So you could either swap the entire thing, which if you found the same one again, dead simple job, but it's not always possible. You can find the diaphragms. These are what goes on it. So when you flush it, it sits inside there, it lifts up, and that's what lets the water out. So over time, as that wears away, it stops it from fully reseating, and that's what lets the water trickle through.
Right, and that's the time to call a plumber out and get it replaced.
Get it replaced, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Sure.
So this is just a siphon. So these are in most older toilets, but you still do come across them now in some modern toilets. Inside there, there's a diaphragm. Now those can split and tear, so it won't let the toilet flush properly. You'll just keep pulling on the handle, water's going nowhere. These don't tend to overflow back into the pan like those do, but you can get them where they do overflow back into the pan.
Quite often as well, they could have an overflow coming out the wall.
So you'd have a pipe come out the wall. So if you see a pipe coming out the wall that's dripping, normally it's off one of these. So those can be swapped. Yeah.
And again, it's time to replace, of course.
Replace it, yeah.
Great.
So then you've got different types of ball valve. So this is a bottom feed one. If you're going to have a leak or something overflowing, more likely to be this. Inside there's a little diaphragm. Those tend to just stretch far away and it'll just keep dripping because it's not reseating fully. Again, if you get the noise of a flushing toilet and it makes a big water hammer noise, it's that diaphragm that's gone. These can be adjusted. You can tighten that screw up just to tighten it so it sits fully. Common fault you'll find is people have thrown these away. These are designed to hold it off the side of the cistern. So if it's filling up with you have a float like you've got on the part 2 there that lifts it up. If that's not there to stop it from going all the way back, it'll lean and it'll just keep filling because it's not at the point you've set it to, it's moved past that. So again, you'll get it overflowing, it'll either come through that into the cistern or through the overflow pipe outside. Again, nice easy job to change.
So they're the telltale sign for people to look out for, isn't
Yeah.
it? Dribbling down the side of the pan, coming out of the overflow externally, or even the noise as well.
Yeah,
You
the
can
noise
hear
is
it
another
filling
one.
up regular. That's the time to get it looked at by an expert.
More traditional, part 2 ball valve. Again, same as the bottom feed one, you've got the diaphragm inside there, so you might find it still dripping and that's what's making it overflow. The floats can fail, so they hold water inside it, so instead of lifting up, it's got weight in it which is pulling it down, which is letting it overflow that way. You'll hear that one more. Again, you can adjust the valve float height to do it that way.
More economical on water, use less water.
Yeah, you'll find toilets that have got marks inside them where the flush should be at. You set it to that, and that's how you get your flush out of your toilet. But like I say, you can replace those, you can replace the arms, you can replace the diaphragms, but it's easier just to change the whole thing.
And what about this particular thing here?
That's your Doughnut Washer. So if you ever take the cistern away from the pan, this is a lifesaver, because if you get it wrong, it's going to leak water every time you flush it. They sit on the bottom of the cisterns, which then go where the pan goes onto the toilet and just form a seal there. If that's not there, it's going to go. And if you ever disturb it, swap it, because it will leak if you don't swap it.
And that will actually leak all over your floor from there.
All over the floor, through the wall, through the light fittings, everything.
Yeah. There is no escape for that, is there?
No.
It doesn't go down the toilet, through the overflow system, it actually goes
Wet
onto
sock
your
time,
floor.
yeah.
It certainly does. Now, Drew, this sounds complicated, but is it easy to fix?
Yeah, usually it's actually a pretty straightforward job that can be fixed on a plumber's first visit. Of course, sometimes it can be more complicated, but that's quite rare. If you think you might have a leaky loo or have spotted any of the signs we've chatted about today, it's always best to get a trusted tradesperson in to take a look. If you don't know anyone, you can contact watersafe.org.uk online, where you'll find a list of trusted plumbers who'll be able to sort your loo out.
Now, for more information and to order your free leaky loo strip, visit the website unitedutilities.com/leaky loo.